Hello everyone, I am here today with a new flip-through video. This one is for part 2 of my Cincy album, and I believe I left off Friday night where we had been at the zoo all day, and I'm picking up with Saturday. So I have my divider here and then I just jump right into it. And Saturday was a very busy day, but I started off including a picture of our Airbnb building. It was lovely, so I want to make sure I got that in there, and then just photos from around our apartment, and very eclectic kind of decorating style, so I wanted to include that. But it was great for us. It was very comfortable. And then we headed off into the city, and we had done some murals on Thursday when we flew in, but we probably only saw maybe like a quarter of what the downtown area had to offer. And so we decided, okay, Saturday morning, we're going to start again and try to see as many of the others as possible. So there's quite a few of those that we passed. And since a lot of these were very bright, I tried to keep the embellishments minimal. So like I just have 2 little pieces of chipboard there, and that's it. And then we also got some views of some lovely buildings of different types. So I wanted to include those as well. And this one, I kind of cheated a little bit. I decided to just do a collage in Project Life. So I made the 6x8 collage and then printed it. And then I just added my embellishments. So nothing major there. It was super easy. And then I did something similar here because I had so many photos and murals. I decided to make a collage of these as well. And this style that was in Project Life suited the photos really well that I had here. So I decided to just drop those in. This is digital paper that I use as the background. So all I had to do is, when it came after it was printed, all I had to do was just stick on that embellishment, and that's it, which was awesome. And then these I wanted to include because there's a whole story with it. We saw another version of these when we were in Prague. Same friend that I was traveling with then, I traveled with now. So we were both like, hey, we recognize those. We know what they are. And yet more murals. And again, because the colors were so bright and busy and lots happening, minimal embellishments. 1 piece of chipboard here, plus some journaling. That was enough. And then over here, this was my favorite mural of all the ones we saw. So I wanted it to get its own page. So I chose to keep a white border on the photo there. I printed that out. And then I just had this big acrylic piece that says, "Hey, beautiful." And I didn't know what I was going to use that for. It actually matched this and worked very well. And then I just used some yellow and white twine behind it because there was yellow in here. Kept it fairly simple, and this is not my normal style, but I wanted to do something different because this is so different. So I am happy with the way that came out. Even more murals. I told you there would be a lot, and I loved these because they were so bright and colorful. It really just makes me happy to look at them. But again, they didn't need a lot added to them because of all that. So this was the only thing I added here. I chose to do the white border just like on here because I really liked the way that looked, helping to kind of ground it when there's all this color happening. So I think that was a good choice. And then over here, they had this wonderful mural featuring Fiona, which was one of the reasons we went to Cincinnati in the first place. So I wanted to showcase that. And then I had another acrylic piece that was kind of a generic, and I didn't know how I was going to use it. "This makes me smile," it says. And the hippos totally did, so I figured that was appropriate. And we had lunch at this little diner place called the Milkman. So kind of a retro theme here, so I wanted to work with that. Again, I did a collage and just dropped these in because so much was happening with these. It was just easier to do it that way. So this was actually a digital card I have that was a 3x4. I dropped it in there, just sized it down a little so it fit, and it worked great. And then I decided to include their menu since we had it. And I thought that was a fun aspect. You can totally open it up all the way. But then I also utilized the back to add some things because the back was kind of boring. So this way I could add another photo. I had this fun kind of retro chipboard piece, and I think that worked really well. And then after that, we were on to this park that was right across from Music Hall. So we got to take a look at this before our tour started. And it was a beautiful park. And as you can see, like, it was pretty warm that day. There were lots of families out. The kids were playing in it. And I just wanted to document that because it was a nice little break right in the midst of the city. then it was on to our tour at Music Hall. And it's kind of funny because we've never seen this before. We didn't go to a show there or anything. We just saw there was a tour available. We like musicals. We love theater, the architecture they usually have. So we decided to do it. And it was one of my favorite things that we ended up doing. So you can see the outside is absolutely gorgeous. So is the inside. Just wait and see. But I wanted to showcase that because when you walk up to it, it's just breathtaking. So can't skip over that. And then this is the kind of brochure thing that we got. And ooh, I can see I need a little more adhesive there, I think. I'll have to take care of that when I'm done. But I didn't need the whole brochure. It was quite thick. And so I just took off kind of the front part where you could see this. It was their 150th anniversary. So wanted to make sure I included that. And then on the back, I just enlarged this photo of the best front view that I got because it is stunning. So then over here we start the inside, what we were seeing on the actual tour. And they had this lit up and it was very purple. And I'm all about that because you don't get a lot of purple and purple is my favorite color. So wanted to use that for sure. And then this one actually has a flip out. And I was able to take one of these just craft pieces that I had here. It came that way. I didn't cut that. It came like that. And then I just stamped on it with one of my theater stamps and it worked out so well. I felt it was very fitting for this. And then just a couple of other things that we saw inside. This was their special suite where you have to pay basically to be a member to get in there. And I can't imagine what that would cost. Probably more than I would ever pay, but it was beautiful. And then we had this portion where you can actually go into the theater, see how it's set up, see all the architecture. The chandeliers were just fabulous. I mean, look at that. And again, very busy, very ornate. Didn't need to add a lot. So I chose a card that had gold foiling because I figured that matched well. And I just used this foam star embellishment sticker that I had, and I felt like that was enough. And so these are just some more photos from inside the actual theater portion, just different angles because we got to go on the bottom level and all the way up top for the balconies. So I wanted some different views there. And then this is where we're coming down. Obviously you can see the beautiful staircase. And again, a collage that I just quickly threw together. This was a digital card I already had, so I just dropped that in. All I had to do was add this little phrase label here, and it was done. This was their ballroom that they rent out for proms and other special events. And I would assume you could have like a wedding reception in there. And it was stunning. So I wanted to blow that up, have an enlarged photo that was the full 6x8. But again, minimal stuff on it because it's gorgeous on its own. So just strip of foiled washi, this circular embellishment, call it good. And then after that, we were back outside in the area. This was right down the street from the theater. And I just thought it was kind of a, you know, a cool little neighborhood there with some vintagey buildings. And so I wanted to include those. And this is a page protector style that is harder for me to use. And I was just overjoyed that I had stuff that would actually work in there. So I had to use it. And then this was from Findlay Market. So we went over there and explored that. We didn't actually end up getting a whole lot in there. We got this key lime pie that we shared. We didn't even each get our own. It was really more about just looking around and taking in all the colors and textures and sights and sounds of the market, that kind of thing. And then here I decided to just do a 3x8 insert. We each had our picture taken with this guy. And so I just put one phrase, one little puffy sticker, that's it. And then on this side, these two actually do go together. We had pictures of the Reds stadium. And so I wanted to use those as well. And I actually got to use 2 DIY embellishments that I had. So it was great to start using some of those since I made them. I don't want them just sitting in their little bin. And then we were off to explore over on the Kentucky side a little bit. And we found this German neighborhood and this beautiful sign that they had out front, this lovely mosaic here. And so we were just kind of walking the streets, looking at the houses. We found this gorgeous church that was there. This one does have a flip up. We were sad though that this was locked. We were really hoping like, ooh, maybe they have an evening service on a Saturday because lots of Catholic churches do. And I think we were a little too late. They had probably already done that, had locked the doors. And so sadly, we could not get in to explore it. So after doing all of that, our feet were very, very tired. We were hungry for a late dinner, so we grabbed a bus and went back over to the Cincinnati side. We found this place, and I highlighted what was good about it and chose not to write what was bad about it because there really wasn't a place for it. But I ordered a Brussels sprouts appetizer, and it was disgusting. They had overcooked them. It was so dry. It was just like dust in the wind when you would try to eat it. So bad. But I kept the good ones and decided to include those. And then because it was dark and late by the time we were finished with all that, I wanted to include some night shots here before we grabbed the bus back to our Airbnb. And so here they are. And again, very simple embellishments here. These are actually from the same set, so they worked well together. And that is the end of Saturday. So here you can see my divider for Sunday. I just used a postcard that I picked up at the art museum. So I really didn't have to do a whole lot, which was great. It made making the dividers very easy. And then on the back, there were such cool buildings in our neighborhood where we stayed. And so I wanted to include that one because, again, not only was the design cool, but it had purple on it. And you just don't see that every day. And I had this perfect little acrylic house. I didn't know what I would do with that either. It worked out so well. And then just some more fun photos of the neighborhood buildings in bright, bright colors. This card just happened to match. I got very lucky with that. And then we were near a place called Eden Park that had trails and things and a lookout where you can look out over the river. But then also on that same complex within the park is where the art museum is, and it's also where their conservatory is and their butterfly place. So all of that was done kind of together because they were sort of in succession within the park. So I was able to use some 2x2 pockets here. This is another DIY embellishment that I made, so I got to use that. And then just some stuff I had laying around that was simple. This is just a little piece of chipboard. I think that's from, is it Freckled Fawn? I think it's Freckled Fawn, and I've had it a long time. So I'm glad to use it and get it out of my stash. And then on this side, that's another DIY embellishment, and I actually put this one on the outside of the page protector. Both of these are. That's on the outside, as is this one. I used some epoxy embellishments that I've also had forever. I'm on a mission to hopefully get all those used up this year. We'll see. But I use them there. And then just a simple chipboard piece here because, again, lots happening. Lots of color, lots of pattern. Simple embellishments is the way to go. And then I did the back of this page. This was actually from a bag that I got when I bought a shirt and the postcards and some other things there in their gift shop. And that was just too beautiful not to use. So I cut up the bag and I made a page out of it. And then this was just the desert area. Again, I kept it very simple. I made a collage. I dropped in the photos. And I just used some fun desert theme stickers that I already had. And then another collage. You can see a theme here. When I have lots of pictures from the same place, it often helps to just make a collage because I don't need 4 layouts of this. And that is what it would probably take if I used all of those individually. So it's just better to do the collage. I can drop in a digital file. This was digital paper I had, and just slap on the embellishments and it's good to go. And then over here on this one, again, I had some more 2x2 pockets, which are always a little stressful for me to use, but it worked out well. And then this clearly on the outside of the page protector, it would be too lumpy to fit inside and probably get wrecked in there. So I think this was the better way to go. All right, sorry if you can hear people outside. There's stuff happening outside. Our association is doing some work out there. So on this side, we were in the butterfly house, obviously, so you can see all of that. This was a sticker from their gift shop, so I lucked out that they had that, and it matched some of the photos I had, so how would I not use it? And then over here, I wanted to include the brochure that also has a map of how this is laid out. So I just used an attacher there from Citrus Twist, super easy. And then we actually went to the art museum and had lunch there as our first thing because it was once again a day where we ended up having kind of a late lunch because we were so busy in the morning. So we did that first in their cafe. Kept that pretty simple as well. It was delicious. And, oh, you know what? I just realized these are out of order. Haha. This is supposed to be after this. So I will have to move that when I'm done. I'm glad I did this and I caught it. So now we're at the art museum here. That's all the outside stuff. Very simple embellishments there as well. And then this was a small insert just to showcase the Chihuly chandelier that I knew that was there. And that was one of the things I wanted to see. So of course I had to showcase it here. So then I have a bunch of pictures of just the different exhibits that we saw as we went around the rest of the museum. And they were all just beautiful, beautiful things. You can see this gallery here. It was just stunning. So I had to have a flip out to make sure I could include all of that. Simple embellishments again. And then I kept with the red and gold theme because I felt like these pictures still kind of matched. And then just added in the blue to kind of highlight that. But very, easy and quick stamping here. One little phrase and that's all I needed. And then same here. This was an enlarged photo. I just put it on this 3x8 card that I had and did one stamp. That's it. And then they had this cool mural that took up like almost an entire wall in the museum. And it features stuff from around Cincinnati. So I wanted to make sure that I highlighted that. So I took this. This was actually kind of a cardstock brochure that they had. And I cut it down just for this portion because I really liked the colors that were represented. And then here's a longer view of it. And it tells the story of it. And then yet another DIY embellishment that I was able to use. So I worked a lot of those in this second half. And I'm happy about that. And then here I just wanted to include 2 Impressionist paintings that we saw because I love the Impressionists and I always feel just extra happy inside when I get to see some of those pieces of art. So I wanted to include them, but also kept it very simple. The biggest thing I did here was do some ink splattering, so not too crazy. And then after that, we went to the airport and I had pictures of that, but this was getting so chunky and full. I decided not to use those. It's just an airport, like nothing super special about it. So I just went right to our dinner and dessert that we had. We had cheesecake for dessert and our plane was a little delayed. So we could take extra time with our dinner and dessert, which was nice. So I just used some new washi I had, did some simple stamping there. And then this is the end. So there's a picture of our plane while we were waiting. And I used this card to fill out what I felt was appropriate for the trip. And I don't do that very often, but when I have cards like that that will work, I love to incorporate them. So now you've seen the back half of the Cincinnati album. It's a big one, but it was super fun to put together. It was a great trip. I loved every minute. And now I can relive it because this is done. So thanks for watching.